It's different at Apricot, right?
Yeah.
So let me see. Few of you maybe have some solar experience. Maybe you've had, different comp plans, different companies you've been a part of, different structures. And, we definitely have something special here. It's enabled people to, create some leverage income they couldn't create in any other solar company. But most importantly now, going into next year, there's going to be some changes. How many of you guys have already seen some changes in the market, right? Give me a little wave, right? You've already seen some changes. How was this year compared to last, right? We had supply chain issues. Now we're dealing with finance fees, interest rates going up, lots of changes, right? And you're going to see through a new lens this morning, when you're thinking about those same challenges that affect the marketplace, how much more of an advantage you have at Apricot and how much more special it is that you're in this model. I've got people calling me almost daily now saying that they're talking to people that are, leaving the industry because they can't show a customer first year savings. That's crazy. Guys, that's insane, right? Imagine looking back 5 years from now because you left the solar industry, knowing what's about to happen in the solar industry over the next 5 years. It's absolutely insane. Guys, I want to make sure you know what you have. Let's jump right in. If you're ready, say I'm ready.
I'm ready.
We ready?
You ready?
Money
And
Cash
Dave
Queen is
Bengal,
ready.
And this is Dirty Solar Secrets. Okay, some of you guys have seen this before. More than half of you guys have not seen this before. We're going to compare right now the Apricot model to the Redline model. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yes,
Awesome.
sir.
All right, so at Apricot, you have the advantage of selling as low as baseline cost as a new solar advisor. I think this is really critical because when you first start in solar, you first start at Apricot, you don't know everything yet. You have the least amount of skills. So you need to have the best pricing. And on the Redline model, you can only sell as low as your Redline. There's nothing else you can do. But the Apricot model, you can never be outbid. On a Redline model, you're very vulnerable to being undercut by a competitor. You've got such a small range of price that you can offer. You're just hanging out there ready to be undercut. Versus with Apricot, you've got all the way down to baseline pricing. You can never be undercut. So this, encourages and inspires volume over gouging. It's never about one job for us. It's never about trying to rake in $10, $12, $15, $20,000 on one customer, which we consider gouging anyway. I want you guys to make a healthy commission. Average commission at Apricot on a self-generated deal is $6,000. That is, I believe, a healthy commission. You do, more than a handful of those a month. You're well within the top 2% of income earners in the country. But on the Redline model, you're motivated to price as high as possible because you keep every penny above that Redline cost. But more importantly, you're already artificially higher on that cost chain. And with Apricot, you never lose a sale because of price, rank, position, or your Redline. On the Redline model, you lose more sales in the beginning, and it just depends on how high your Redline is. You can save more deals that have construction adders. Wave at me if you sold a deal and then you find out there's too much tree shading, the roof needs to be redone, there's expensive electrical issues, and that cuts into your margin because the customer doesn't want to pay for it, right? Well, on the Redline model, often that just means the deal gets canceled because that customer also doesn't want to pay for it, but you can't sustain $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 of additional fees because you've got this tiny little Redline that's just your commission that you're working with. So the newest rep on the team has access to the best pricing. We talked about that. On the Redline model, the newest rep on the team has the worst pricing, right? So how do you stay competitive on the Redline model, with all of these things fighting against you? Okay. Now we're going to look at it from the lens of team building, right? So at Apricot, It's points over politics. You promote yourself and you get to stay. What does that mean? So getting to stay means, you don't have to try to renegotiate, go around your boss, go above his boss. They say no. And then you're like, well, then I'm just out. I'm going to go negotiate a better red line at another company. That's what happens in the industry. Essentially, in order for you to get promoted to the top in a red line model, you have to, your manager has to quit or die or get fired, right? If one of those three things doesn't happen, you're not getting promoted past them, right? And let's say you're a manager on the red line model, right? Why would you promote someone on your team past you? You're essentially just giving up that money, right? There's no incentive for you to promote people on your team. So think about that, guys. All of these red line companies out there, if you're on a team, your manager has no incentive to promote you. And let's say you do get offered a good spot, you have no motivation to promote your team. There's no upward mobility, guys. There's no upward mobility. This creates a toxic environment. At Apricot, it's transparent. You know where every penny goes and exactly what you need to do to hit each position. The comp plan is right there in front of everybody, right? On the red line model, everybody hides their red line for fear of losing a teammate or losing their red line. Why? Because it's all hidden in a veil of secrecy. And the second you find out that your buddy has a lower red line than you, you're going to go try to negotiate and get that same red line, or you're going to get mad and quit, right? So that creates a toxic environment. With the exchange team, each new partner you promote in your team, again, this is based on points, creates a new exchange team for you to work with directly and create new leaders. So it's this never-ending cycle of creating new teams directly for you to work with. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Okay, we gotta reset here. Give me 1 second. On the red line model, leaders leave you because you can't offer them a better red line, right? If you have a red line of 220, you can't offer someone on your team a 220 or a 215 or a 210, right? So you don't just lose the leader. Once you cannot offer them something better, they quit and they just start their own thing, or they go to a new company. And this just happens over and over and over, and until people eventually become solar roadkill because they're just too jaded by the industry. All right, let's talk about profit sharing pools. Apricot, you can get paid monthly on the overall profit of nationwide installs based on the number of leaders you promote. You can create partners in this company and literally increase your profit share practically in real time. And we pay monthly. On the red line model, every time you promote a leader, you lose that override on that team. Or if you don't promote them, they just quit, right? It doesn't give you any profit sharing. There's no incentive to promote leaders. Leadership works together to build each market. You understand, because you're a leader at Apricot and the profit sharing model, that if somebody in Florida is killing it, you want them to do better, right? If you're in Arizona and you're killing it, they want you to do better. You guys can support each other with your teams in those markets. They can support someone on your team in Florida, and you can support someone on their team in Arizona, because you both know the better you both do, the better you both do, right? It's a beautiful thing. A rising tide truly raises all ships at Apricot with the profit sharing model. In the red line, it doesn't work like that, guys. Leaders separate their teams. They keep each other away from each other. There's regional boundaries. You can't sell in Florida. This guy can't sell in Arizona. If somebody wants to move, they literally lose that person off their team. Imagine having a leader in your team, guys, okay, that's killing it, making 40 grand a month, tons of customers, great recruiter. They're like, hey, because of XYZ and our family, personal reasons, we've got to relocate to a different state. And the company just says, well, sorry, you lost that team now. You lost those points. You lost those overrides. This person is now going to work on this team because of this regional boundary. Imagine that happening, right? That would be so frustrating, all the time and energy and leadership you put in to build that team. We've heard stories of some of these larger companies that do summer programs and operate on the red line. They literally won't bring their teams to the office at the same time because they're afraid that they're going to talk, share red lines, talk about compensation, get mad, right? So they schedule teams to come in and get their swag on different days so they don't run into each other. And it's the reason you haven't seen like, a giant sales meeting of 5,000, 10,000 reps at one solar company. It's because of the red line model, guys. It's absolutely toxic. All right, Apricot, you got the ability to earn a form of residual or passive income based on the company's success times your contribution, right? So you got a long-term promise. You're like, hey, if you build something big, we do this together, you can actually have some leveraged income, right? It's not all going to be based on just your efforts or just your team or just your door knocking versus on the red line. No such thing. Just keep knocking, keep selling until you die, right? That's the plan. All right. So unlimited income potential versus you're responsible for 100% of your income. I think you guys get it by now. If you get it, say, I got it.
I get it.
You know I got it.
Got it.
Okay, now we're going to walk through an actual graphic example of what happens in real life when you're selling on the Apricot model versus someone selling on the red line. So first up, we're going to sell a solar system at $3 a watt. And there's basically one opportunity where the red line beats the Apricot model. And that's when you're really trying to gouge a customer. So $3 a watt, in some markets is going to be average. It's going to be a little bit low. It's definitely not high in really any market. But you can see that red bar. Apricot Solar Advisor makes $5,700 on the sale. Everybody's eating, junior partners eating, company is profitable, right? Then you've got on the red line, you've got a sales rep who's brand new. Obviously, he's got a red line of 260. And guys, by the way, if you don't buy this, I talk to people every day. I just got off the phone with Ian Saunders and a guy who's a killer. He has a 275 red line. That's his red line, 275. I talked to some guys that have a $3 red line. They don't make $1 unless they sell above $3. They sell at 310, they're making 10 cents a watt. They're selling at 350, they're making 50 cents. Okay. So it's very awesome to have this strategy where you can sell at a very competitive price and make a killer commission. All right. So in this instance, Solar Advisor is making $5,700. The red line sales rep is making $4,000 because they've got 40 cents a watt. And we're just going to assume this is a 10 kilowatt system size. Okay. You guys with me? Yes. Now, if you sell higher, okay, so let's sell this deal at 350. The Solar Advisor at Apricot makes 7,800. And I can't see my freaking mouse. I'm sorry.
9,000.
Thank you. It was 9,000, right? Yeah, 9,000. So in this instance on the red line, the sales rep is actually going to make more money when they gouge, okay? Because they keep every penny above $3 a watt. So they could even ride that up, right? They can go to $4 or $5. You're going to make a killing when you sell that high, right? And you're going to increase your commission at Apricot, but you're not going to keep every penny. So you're motivated to be more competitive and go for volume, okay? This is the only time the red line model wins, all right? So let's keep going. Let's go back to our $3 a watt. Now, what happens, guys, in any industry over time? As customers get more educated and as more companies enter the industry and prices, and companies start to compete, what happens? Do prices go up over time or do they go down?
Down.
They go
They
down.
Okay. This is
Consolidate.
every industry, right? So in some markets right now, our average PPW is 280 a watt. We're already there right now. This is already happening. Okay. So at 280 a watt, Solar Advisor still makes $4,800, junior partner $860, partner $1,600, and the company's still profitable. And we got almost $500 going to the profit sharing pool. Let's look at Redline, right? So the sales rep only made $2,000. So we're already crushing that guy, right? And we're getting close to the point where he can't even sell. Let's drop this a little bit more. Okay, let's go to 260 a watt. Wow, what happened? We just lost that guy. Okay, so the solar sales rep on the red line model is gone. He cannot do that deal. Okay, it is below his red line. He's got to call his manager, and his manager's got to come in and say, okay, we got to give this guy a good deal. You know, we got to take this deal from Apricot, you know, whatever we need to do. And so the assistant district manager is going to be able to sell this because he's got a 250 red line. You can see that line at 250. So he's going to make $1,000, right? Because there's so many slices in this pie. Every single manager, you know, the assistant district manager, the district manager, the regional manager, the VP, the SVP, they all got to get their little slice out of the pie, and it's a fixed price at each red line level. Meanwhile, over here at Apricot, the solar advisor is making a $4,000 commission at 260 a watt. 260, guys, is extremely competitive. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, we see it, Dave.
Absolutely.
Sir, we can see it.
Should we keep going? Let's keep going. Let's drop it from 260 to 250. Wow, we just lost another one. We lost the assistant district manager. He cannot sell that deal. It's below his red line. How many of you guys know if your red line's 250, you can't sell a deal at 250, right? Okay, so that guy's gone. Now we're dealing with the DM. The DM can sell this deal and make $1,000. Big whoop, right? He's not going to care about this deal. He's not going to care about the customer. He may not even be motivated to go get this deal because he's trying to gouge some other customer. Okay. Meanwhile, solar advisor, how many of you guys would be happy with a $3,500 commission on a deal that you're able to sell at $250 a watt? How many of you guys would be happy with that?
All
All
day.
day.
Yeah.
Guys, how many of you guys would be happy? How many guys would be happy as a partner with 100 deals in a month where your sales rep is selling at 250 and you're making a $1,200 override? How many of you guys would be happy with that?
Yes,
All right.
indeed. I
Yes,
love
sir.
it.
All right, let's
Indeed.
crush the DM, right? DM's gone. He can't sell this next deal. Now we're at 240 a watt. The regional manager, which by the way, this guy doesn't sell solar. Okay, so he's not going to actually do this deal, but he could, right? He could do this deal and make $1,000 at 240 a watt. Solar advisor still making a healthy commission, $3,100. Company's still profitable. Still $300 going in the profit sharing pool. Partner's still making $1,000. Junior partner's still making $500. Let's drop it down to 230. You know, I mean, if you're selling at 230 right now, guys, I feel bad for you, son. But sometimes it does require that, right? Sometimes there's a limit on financing. You can only get them 40 grand. Sometimes they need an MPU. They need all this and all that, right? Let's say they need a partial re-roof. These are deals where on the red line model, you have to walk away. There's just not enough margin in there at your red line if you're limited on financing. And guess what? At Apricot, you can sell that deal. And guess what? You made $2,700, right? And they got a roof, or they got an MPU, or they got all this work, right? And the company's still profitable. 220, same thing, right? SVP, this guy hasn't sold solar since 2014. Maybe he never sold solar, right? He's just the owner's son, or he's the owner's best buddy, or he came from some other industry, right? This guy does not sell solar, okay? He's number 7 on the management chain. This guy doesn't even know how to write up a deal, okay? But at 220, that's the only person in the red line model that could actually sell this deal. Meanwhile, solar advisors still getting paid. Everybody on the Apricot model is eating. And guys, we can take this all the way down to the red line model. Okay. By the way, not that many people really have a 190 deal or red line anymore. In most states, it's 220, 230, 240. For the dealership, let alone to somebody in the field. Nobody really has those red lines. This is an extreme example, but only the owner of the company could sell this deal and actually make some money. And at Apricot, it just keeps going, guys. It just keeps going. We keep crushing. We keep getting better. We keep offering more and more competitive pricing. And, guys, think about how this is going to play out as finance fees continue to increase, as interest rates continue to go up, right? We could enter more supply chain issues in 2023. I have a feeling that the government's not done. You know, there could be more sanctions on that region, Xinjiang and China. There's always going to be, you know, things out of your control. We call them market variables. Okay, let me hear you say market variables. Okay,
Market variables.
always going to
Market
be,
variables.
these are always going to be an issue, Albert. The question is, are you in a model that gives you the most ability to counter market variables, to sustain through market variables, you know, to continue to get the customer solar no matter what's happening? You know, which model is going to give you the most flexibility and give you the best competitive advantage?